Brockton, Celestial Forge by Lord Roustabout. The main character had just done was just doing some wiki research on Parahumans Online, or PHO. After testing his new power to gain the durability of the strongest piece of armor he's wearing. I had the added advantage of my passenger's insight while browsing gate profiles. I didn't know exactly how accurate it was, but things like seriously negative reactions to the newest member of the local wards team yielded some interesting results. She seemed to be a dependable, if slightly edgy hero, but a little digging into Kate forums produced some fairly convincing evidence that she had a history of excessive violence and a rumor that she joined the wards as part of a prohibition deal to avoid being charged with attempted murder. None of that had been on my map beforehand, so it lent some credence towards trusting my passenger's judgment. Some of the insights were still completely mystifying. I had no idea what the weird feeling of offense that was shared between Battery, Triumph, and Gallant meant. It was similar to what happened when he seemed to be feeling when I reviewed Full Unscrew, looked at the listings for Neuter and Rigger the Snail. It was much more sympathetic for the Case 53s. Any browsing of reports on New Wave triggered a mess of emotions, mostly concern, fear, and compassion that spiked when I focused on Bacchania. Also, my passenger did not like Armsmaster, but was more a level of distrust than actual hostility. I started with the page for Archer's Wages Merchants. No surprise there, general disgust, though the feeling connected to Skidmark was more wary than I had initially expected. That confused me enough that I had dug into Cape theories, found someone who had done the math on the effect of Skidmark stacking his propulsion fields. Calculating based on various video clips and the movement rate of different size objects suggests that there were no diminishing returns with his power. If the man layered fields enough time, he would be able to launch something into orbit or create a mass drive that could wipe out anything in the city. Brockton was only kept safe by the trait and limited ambition of a drug addict that kept him at a ch2 rating. Sorry if you can't tell, I'm having a little trouble breathing right now. So, defense against the merchants. Assuming that durability worked as advertised and it wasn't just skin deep, I could probably survive anything short of a massive layered field launch from Skidmark or one of Skreeler's larger vehicle-mounted weapons. Nobody else should be able to seriously injure me, but I could end up trapped by Skidmark or Mush fairly easily. And sure, I should be alright if I ran into them and needed to escape, but taking to the fight to them was out of the question at this point. I looked into the ABB next. Long would be able to scale to a point where he could literally rip me apart, but if I kept fighting him long enough for him to reach that point, then it's my own fault. As far as I could tell, I should be able to endure most of Oni Lee's arsenal, providing he doesn't shove a grenade down my throat. The wiki page had been updated with a new member since the last time I checked it. They had a new tinker in the gang, Bakuda. The scream of fear from my passenger was incredible. I quickly clicked the link, trying to parse through the mess of emotions. Whoever this was, she was incredibly bad news. This was near the level of response that Coil had triggered. The wiki page was sparse, mostly focusing on her assault on Cornell. Her activities with the ABB had been limited to a few appearances, mostly to show off the flag to other gangs rather than any demonstration of new technology. That probably meant she was still setting up. That everyone carried their workshop around in their pocket. The loss of tools, research, and materials could take a tinker nearly back to square one. Once she was set up, that's when things would get serious. And I'm going to have to stop there because I really, really can't breathe right now. Thanks for listening.